Let's go.
And we are live.
We're live.
Another free flow Saturday.
hmm
The show must go on.
The show must go on. Wait, by
Yes,
the
another.
way,
Hmm.
I decided I'm gonna hire someone to be doing the edits for us.
Oh, okay.
I was listening to one of the spaces. I don't know which was it last week. There was one.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Last week, but one I think.
Okay.
Or rather, this is the last week because you're still on
Hmm.
Saturday. So and Kibo was having a long discussion with Albo,
Okay.
telling him, you need to get your channel going and all that. And so he told him, part of his experience has been, particularly when you're generating this kind of content, an hour long,
Hmm.
getting the time to do all the editing, publishing, you know, producing a thumbnail, all the graphics related to it takes a bit of some time. And I know it does take quite a time because I used to do that on the other recorded things we used to do on Zoom.
Yeah.
So I just decided, let me look for someone,
Hmm.
even if it's like an intern, someone who is in college who probably has some good skills around graphics, video editing. They help us sort of. I'm yawning. Maybe it's because I haven't eaten anything or something. Anyway,
Hmm.
so get someone who will help with the whole setup,
Okay.
so that because in I think in one sitting we have like how many, 3 to 4 broad discussions.
Yeah.
So those should be ideally broken down into their own topics. Push it on social media. I think that's how we are gonna now sort of turbocharge the
Yeah.
channel. Mm,
Otherwise, if we run it the way we are, and you're the one on the front end, then you're the same person on the back end.
correct. It
Then you
becomes
are,
harder.
and then you are doing other things. It becomes
Yes.
a bit of the energy goes down.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Mm,
That's
mm,
true. I think there's
mm,
need to delegate some of these things,
mm,
as opposed to holding all of them to yourself. And
mm.
now that I've understood certain elements, I did it, I understand how it works. Now it's
Mm.
probably just sharpening how best do we push it, learning about all the elements around videos, the best time to release them, and all that.
And you are, those are hunger pangs or what?
Those are hunger pangs or something. Ah, anyway, good. So yeah, I just wanted to update you on that. So yes, all our listeners, we are improving the channel one by one. One thing I'm excited about is next week is when I'll get that mixer, the Maono caster,
Okay, okay.
and yeah, it will even come with a mic. I had to buy another external one because it comes with an arm, so it will
Okay.
be something that will be hooked, and I can speak on it from like this angle. So that, um, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think that will be another major improvement to this, and then also start doing the Twitter Spaces for music.
Yeah, okay.
Uh, yeah, the Twitter Spaces I might start it actually tomorrow. We had an issue learning the Roadcaster, and I think
Mm.
now we get it out. So, yep.
Well, we normally say the human being is meant to improve. Here we go.
What's that acronym that you have? Is it C something? Cre-
Oh, create, solve, improve. CSI.
CSI, create,
Uh,
solve, improve.
yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
I think that's now when I thought about it, and the other day I was actually thinking when somebody spoke about, was it education,
Mm,
that education never ends,
mm,
and it brought to mind that I think the human effort. is about continuous improvement. Never be stagnant. They say if you're not moving or you're not growing, what are you doing? You're dying. So I guess that acronym, particularly for men, it's quite a title and an aspiration to live by. Create, solve, and improve.
Improve.
Problems will always be with us, so we
Mm.
have to continuously solve problems. We need to be always consistently creating, building. We need to improve on the buildings and the creations that we do. Either introducing a new approach, better, more efficient, increase efficiency, uh, increase scale, grow your scale in terms of the reach. Um, so, yes, so yeah.
Shout out to Sharif Mustafa is finally back. He had gone to Mogadishu for his honeymoon.
We saw him with some kafreshi fresh
Yeah,
somewhere on the
he
on the
had
social
gone to
media streets.
he had gone to Mogadishu for his honeymoon with Zamzam,
Mm.
with Halima or Shugri.
Sharif,
As,
let us
as,
know. You should invite the Wazes to accompany you
as
when
Kibo
this.
normally says, when a nigga disappears,
Yes.
know that is Halima was around. He was feeding him Anjera, bahali yake.
Bali, we are waiting for you on the other side to hear the character development that will happen.
Like that thing I put there on Twitter. One moment you are single, brainstorming on solutions, and what the next you are married, you are busy posting. You are now posting anonymous submissions on how your wife is denying you sex.
Mm.
Oh, my brother-in-law has smashed by S550. Oh, my mother-in-law doesn't want to leave. She's always around. Oh, as there's a certain pastor called John Hagee used to say, your
Mm.
marriage, your marriage may be made in heaven, but so is thunder and lightning.
Oh yes, that's a good one. That's really a good one. So if it's
Mhm.
made in heaven, doesn't necessarily mean it will be all jolly
Mm.
jolly.
No, where the marriage comes from, also thunder and lightning, they're in the same production line, doing
Yes,
press ups.
waiting on you to just screw up.
It's like a relay race. The
Yeah,
marriage starts running, then it
yeah,
passes the baton. The lightning comes say, "Yes, I
yes,
am
yes,
here.
yeah.
Where is the Kinuthia? Where is he?"
That's true. That's true.
But the way there's this, this are they called divorce courts or whatnot?
Hmm.
Uh, this guy was talking about his marriage, and he says marriages are crap. So
Hmm.
the judge said, no, no, marriages are good. No, marriages are crap. In fact, look at, there's this, the bailiff, that askari that is standing next to the judge.
Yes, yes, yes.
He pointed to look at that bailiff. He's
Hmm.
been married for 21 years. Look at his face. He looks pissed off. So the bailiff
Hmm.
tried to play it down.
Hmm.
Then a few more, some time later,
Mm.
that bailiff appeared on news. He had shot and killed his wife, but
I think I've heard of that story. I think I've heard of that story.
I think marriage
Is,
just brings
is
the
this
demons out of us.
is the divorce courts that happen in the US? These ones that are
Yeah,
televised.
yes. So
Yeah,
that
I've heard of that
bailiff
story.
actually ended up shooting his wife. Man. So I
God
think
damn.
it actually bring. In fact, I once had my former colleague, a lady. She used to say that they try to look for anger spots in a man, their husband, because
Mm-hmm.
you are trying to be the gentleman of the house. And so they say, hey,
Mm-hmm.
you know, gentleman yako, let's
Mm-hmm.
look for spots that piss you off.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, there are times those sports you are trying to suppress, you know yourself you're dangerous. Then this
Mm-hmm.
character is looking for the danger in you. So when you find yourself, I don't know, hanging from a balcony, hey,
Mm-hmm.
look, this is the demon you are looking for. This is the demon I was suppressing, and you are looking for it. It's the you
Mm-hmm.
are holding a gate to keep a
Mm-hmm.
dog caged, and someone is tickling you so that
Mm-hmm.
you get your hands off the gate. So when the dog bolts out and start chewing people, you start, oh, men are violent. But let's face it,
Mm-hmm.
the male human being sits on top of the kill rate hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
World War Two, World War One, current thing happening in Ukraine. Men are violent. So we ourselves are putting on an effort to suppress the beast in us. So why
Mm-hmm.
would someone come and intentionally try to provoke that beast?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? And how come there's no jurisdiction against provocation? No
Mm-hmm.
jurisdiction against. We know very well men are dangerous. We are
Mm-hmm.
stronger. We are faster. A punch from a man can actually kill a lady.
Mm-hmm.
And when you follow through in these things of GBV, there was a very long list of insults this man was enduring for years. Oh, you are stupid. Your neighbor is doing better than you. You are driving a premium, he's driving S550. You are employed. He's an entrepreneur. What? He probably has a bigger dick than you.
So yeah, so it's that must have been he has been bottling all that for a
Yes.
while for him to
Yeah.
eventually decide, no man, fuck
Mm.
it. I'm gonna
Like,
I'm gonna
like
I'm gonna I'm gonna
this
take
guy
it down.
called Bill Burr. He's a comedian. He says
Okay, yes.
some of these courts or the justice system is
Mm,
operating like firefighters who put
mm,
out the fire, but there's no investigation at what caused it.
mm.
Yes,
Oh yeah,
someone has been
that's actually
beaten, ended up with a broken leg, broken collarbone on a
true.
wheelchair. But do they
Mm.
do some, what do you call, some forensics to see how how have things been for
What
this
led
man?
to that?
What
Yeah,
led to this? You are
because
not
it.
saying that the man goes scot free, but
Mm,
can we do some investigation to see how this happened? How can we prevent it? That is why when you see a fire happening, they can do investigation. The cause was faulty wiring. The supplier for in developed countries like where Sharif Mustafa is, if the problem is wiring, they'll trace up to the owner or the manufacturer of those wires and they say,
mm,
oh, we discovered that the wires you are supplying are
mm,
wrong. So they'll go through all buildings were involving the electrical work was done using that particular brand of wire, and they are changed. So for the same thing, we should look for all women who are known to be mdomo mdomo, and you are called aside. Hey, skizeni bwana, hii tabia yenu can land you in trouble. It's not like
mm.
you are condoning violence in men, but tafadhalini, this kind of you have to change it because this guy is a beast. So there's nothing like there's no forensic, there's no preventive measure. What you have is just a lot of noise, a lot of emotions, campaigns, oh GBV campaign. But is there a campaign about avoiding provoking us?
Actually, that's a very good point. And as you say, the
Hmm,
court system is, in a sense,
hmm,
either ill-equipped
hmm,
or probably it's not in its that probably is not under its purview because it's
hmm,
supposed to render a judgment
hmm,
on the case that has been put forth.
hmm,
Uh, but it would be good for these GBV organizations
hmm.
to then do some thorough investigation as a way to sensitize their members. So, not
Yeah.
just to say that women report any case of violence, it would be also women learn
Hmm,
how to avoid this from the first place. And that is, how do you treat your man? Are you
yeah.
also partly responsible? Maybe if the courts decide to take on this, then
Hmm,
it would be an investigation arm undertakes thorough forensics, as you put it,
hmm,
to then understand where did that anger that led a man to take a gun and kill their
Mm.
wife come from? Where did that frustration that a man had to end up beating, almost immobilizing or killing their wives, where did it emanate from? And then
Then
from there, if they can then determine that the woman had some, was contributed in some sense, where you're just putting it, the provocation part, the part where we always now hear of cases of people who are able to put forth a case on a case of insanity,
yeah.
and it is taken into account where somebody is taken to a psychiatry. They look at their mental state, and if they do find for sure this person, was pushed to a limit where he was sort of turned to be more insane, if so to put it, then either he gets acquitted or a lesser judgment, something of that kind, whatever it might be. So if the woman contributed, then she should also suffer something at that point. But I guess probably what they want to push at is there should also be a level of self-control. But you can't discount these factors. If we are saying the human beings can be driven to do something that is outrageous as that, then why don't we educate people to then not lead their fellow human beings um, to
and
that
and some of
that
these
state?
cases you find that someone has been married for 5 years and they were like boyfriend girlfriend for 3 years.
Hmm.
When they were in boyfriend girlfriend level, he knew this guy is temperamental.
Hmm.
So that's
The
why
idea.
I think some of these things, I think it's matrix oriented. Like some Jamaican was breaking down something. He was
Hmm.
breaking down a certain uh, scheme that looked like a matrix, whereby on matters infidelity,
Hmm.
give him sex, give him, then after a while keep on denying him sex
Hmm.
over and over. Then when he cheats, you cry wolf, and then you divorce and you take half of his property plus his children. And apart from
Mm.
taking his property and his children, you now take 50% of his paycheck. That's where
Continuously, yes.
the
Child.
forensics come in.
Mm.
Hmm. How come you're denying him sex continuously? Apart from sex, the usual dramas and whatnot. And in fact, it's not that you're denying him sex. You are putting a situation whereby the house has that air. The bedroom has no air of intimacy. The
Mm.
bedroom is like a war zone. And each time you enter the bedroom is like walking into a cage with a leopard. I remember back in, I think in Mombasa, it was I think 2015, 2014, 20 early 2016 Napo. I was in the peak Lambistry, top shelf Lambistry, whereby I had this girlfriend who had access to my house. And I was in a situation whereby if I'm coming from work and there's no padlock,
Mhm.
that means she's inside there. I
Mhm.
get worried, like, what mistake have I done today?
Mhm.
I get worried. I do a quick audit. Did I call her in the morning? Did I call her at lunchtime?
Oh yeah.
Did you are doing a quick, quick systems check
Yes.
before
Yes.
getting into the house. And when I'm coming from work and there's a padlock, that means she's not. I'm like, you. The evening is going to be
It's a
wonderful.
good day. Yes.
Now look at that. Look
Yeah,
at that.
that's some
Now,
shit.
now imagine if now that is a marriage with children inside.
Mm.
Are you not going one day to erupt and do some weird
Yeah.
commando and undertaker things inside that house? Then all of a sudden, oh, these men are horrible. Oh, these men are beasts. And it will be your fellow men who are whipping you. This Andrew guy is an animal. This one should be locked for 50 years. Blah, blah.
Mm.
And you've been called names for like 5 years, useless. Bure, even that business of yours is going nowhere. Your neighbor
Mm.
is driving a Prado, you are driving, I don't know, Toyota Starlet or whatever. And all collection of horrible things that are actually denting your ego, diminishing your dignity. Imagine coming from work, then coming to a house. That's why you find some people from work to the bar. You don't have money for a bar, you also sit under a tree counting vehicles until you get called. Where are you?
Mm.
You come in home, you're actually sneaking politely into a house that you pay rent.
Exactly. Your very own house.
Uh,
Man, that's
walking
some
on
shit.
eggshells. Walking on eggshells.
It's like you've literally put yourself in prison. And a
Yeah,
prison
and then to
that you
compound, to further
yes.
compound the issue, the children have even been weaponized against you. And that is not responsible. It doesn't come home early. It is mommy who teaches us homework. I,
Mm,
yeah. It is mommy who goes to the PTA meetings. Yet it is your money that is paying school fees. The PTA meeting issue cannot exist if school fees has not been paid.
mm.
Yeah. So it goes on and on. That's why you find somebody committing suicide when he's 60 years. Because you get to 60, now that they've really sucked you dry, the children have gotten jobs in America, then they take their mother. Now you're stuck in Katonzweni.
Cooking for yourself, Ugali.
Looking for yourself, back to
All by
battlehood.
yourself. You're back.
back to,
Hey,
you are back to battlehood, but you don't have money. You are old. You are servicing loans because you took the children to USIU and Hillcrest and Hillcoast or whatever funny schools, these so-called advanced education, these yo-yo schools, okay, na
mm.
Hillcrest and Peponi and Hillground or whatever hill they learn, and
while the
USIU
while
and
the woman
Baraton,
has secured herself a pension.
a pension, and they are
So
in
when you
Illinois and or LA or
when
Texas.
when you are active, she
Mm,
relied on you
mm,
when the kids were small. Now the kids are all grown up. They've
mm.
got their jobs, they've got their families, but they still remember mother.
Yeah.
So mother is on their monthly budget. She probably
Yes.
gets an upkeep salary. Let's build mother a house, so she has a house built for her. Let's do everything for mama. When mama is sick, or let's send her to the hospital.
Mm.
She has the best healthcare system where
When
they've
you
got
are
a
sick, they buy you painkillers. Yo mnunulie inaitwaje mara moja or not even Panadol, mara moja or Sonadol or some
because
weird.
I guess that's why women have lost don't have that accountability because we've
Mm,
pedestalized them in every way and
mm,
protected them through our
mm,
laws
mm.
at the detriment of a man. You know how crazy the divorce laws are,
Yeah.
child support laws are, many others. I mean, we've seen all this. We've been hearing cases of all these men that were said to have either. I think the most recent one is it a footballer or some person who was said to have raped someone.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
with no evidence, but damn, don't bring your evidence. We'll go with a woman, and if immediately she's given the benefit of the doubt, and the man is already judged guilty. Now,
And
if you
even
don't
if
happen to
even
have money, you're lost in that.
and even now that he's declared innocent, who will touch him?
Exactly. And and does somebody go ahead to penalize this woman for bringing in a fake evidence? Because this is where we need to go.
What is
These
going to,
people that have
what
been.
is happening?
Mm,
What is going to happen is we are very good at adapting. That's a good thing about men.
mhm,
Already there was a feature around 3 years ago about men who simply don't want to marry.
mhm.
Right now, when I think of marriage, it's just headache. The only thing, I think the only time I have a bit of a positive thought about marriage is when I'm horny. And that
You
is
want some
temporary in
sex?
the morning, but then that is just flesh. I'm not in
Mm,
my logical, so logically it's still a no.
Mm.
It's still a no. It doesn't make any sense. That's why we say 50% of your personal space disappears. Your your financial expenses go through the roof. So
Mhm.
even as Magufuli will say, huu ni mkataba ambao unafaa uwe kichaa kuukubali.
That's true.
You have to be a mad person because whenever
Yeah.
you talk to married people, maybe 1 out of 10, but the majority is like a complex. They like, nikuvumilia tu, tunavumilia.
They've
So
decided to accept. What do
but
they?
kuvumilia,
There's even a term.
but this kuvumilia thing, you see,
Mm.
like even the most elastic uh, entity has its breaking point.
Mm.
That's when you hear
That-
gunshots, knives flying all over the place, hot cooking oil and karate, kung fu, tombstones and
mm,
kicks.
mm,
And
mm,
then at the end of the day, nobody will say this man has been enduring a very tough situation. They'll say, oh, this man is a beast. Men are horrible. Blah, blah, blah. Then someone tell, hey, Brian, how come you're not married? Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you to hell. Sioi,
I
staki.
like I like that. And how about the need to have children?
I'll once I'm able to cross that financial threshold, just organize for surrogacy.
Mm.
Take it from there.
Take it from there, and then tell
If,
her.
if, if, if I cannot afford to get a surrogacy,
Mm,
that means my generation has to die. I have no business being in this world. There are a lot of poor people around here. Why add to
mm,
the why add to the crap? No, you have to be harsh with yourself.
mm-hmm,
Why add to the problems? You see, this
mm,
it's bitter. In fact, there's a time I put a tweet. A system that encourages non-wealthy people to reproduce is
mm,
a system that wants a population that can be easily manipulated.
enslaved. Yeah,
Huh?
that's true. There's
Huh?
that. That's
As
very
long
true.
as we have these things, oh, the free maternal care, free what, really free, you are really pushing poor people to give birth, then they have children, they don't have financial muscle. You can play around. It's like when you are broke and for some reason you have a girlfriend who's giving you sex. It really dials down your mind that,
Mm,
I can just have sex, no problem. I can
mm,
go there and mess around with my 200 shillings job per day.
mm,
Come in
mm.
evening, eat ugalimboga, bang a woman, and relax. You see?
Yeah, I
So
guess that's why even in places, is it UAE? Who was telling us about this? So is Qatar a city or a country? It's a,
Qatar is a
it,
country.
it's a Qatar is a country, eh?
Mm,
Okay, so Qatar, I think it was Kamal Kei was telling us about this, where
mm,
they even have to vet you in terms of
mm,
how much money you earn
mm.
before they can give you the go ahead to marry.
Yeah.
Because one, it's a society that encourages more of housewives.
Mm,
So the women should stay at home while the man goes out to fend and
mm,
provide for the family, which then makes sense. I was
mm,
actually just telling someone um, earlier today, we were discussing with a friend of mine here, and I now understand the reason why when a woman gets married, he takes up the name of the husband.
mm,
So before, her name was her father.
mm.
But our father now hands that
Terms
woman
are over.
to another man
Change
to
of
be
title deed.
to be in a sense
Mm.
a father.
Change of documentation. Change of ownership.
Change of
Logbook.
ownership.
Logbook. New logbook.
Logbook imebadilika, we are doing the car transfer.
Mm,
So and that's why you even have some societies in Africa which says women are termed as children
mm.
because they are termed as, you know what, property of the husband.
Yeah.
And it now makes total sense why one, they would take up the name of the husband, and then two, be seen as children. And that's why,
Because
again,
they're under the responsibility of the man.
they are now under the responsibility of the man. The man needs to provide 100% for them.
Mm,
But now, when you have a society as what we have now, which has distorted that system,
mm.
where you have the modern woman who now she is working, so she's out there in the jungle
Now,
battling with other men,
the
while
problem is
still
this.
at the same time she needs to be seen as a wife, submissive, and
She's working.
operating under the man's frame. But how can that be?
She's working, and the society is pushing the man to marry her.
Yeah.
How? How? That's impossible.
Mm,
That is completely impossible.
mm,
So the entire system is pure matrix, and you are better off going surrogacy method. And if you don't have money to afford the surrogacy, you are still in the broke level, because last time I checked, a surrogacy was around $25,000. It's
yeah,
around 3M for surrogacy. 3M may sound a lot of money, but it is very cheap
it is.
compared to the peace of mind that you are finding yourself of.
But with this woman, then if it's surrogacy in the classical sense, she's supposed to give birth and hand over the child to you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
who will now sort of be the mother to this child?
No, I think you're supposed to have an agreement whereby they hand over the child at a certain age,
Mm,
whereby a child has some aspect of bit of independence. Then you're a rich
mm,
guy, you have a nanny or servants in the house.
mm,
Yeah. So that now your job is to simply, you know, it's called induction learning, whereby this boy will see you being the man of the house, as opposed to the woman is seeing you, the child is seeing you ukiteteshwa na bibi yako. Why are you so late?
exactly.
Eh? Leo sipiki, mi na mtoi tumekula, mi na boy tumekula. You acha kutusumbua hapa.
I was
Now,
watching even another YouTube short that showed a mother.
mm,
They have so it's a household where there is a mother, the father, and two small children. But these are kids that are about 3, 4, 5 years, around about that. And it says the woman won't provide food for their husband because
mm,
they had an argument. So she comes, serves the two children, and serves herself, and they start eating. And the man asks, "Where's my food?" And
mm,
she starts saying, "No, I didn't cook for you because we had a disagreement."
mm,
Now, they're saying that in the presence of these two kids. Now, the kids, of course, seem like they're already busy with their own food,
mm,
but subconsciously, they're still absorbing that kind of interaction where they are
mm,
seeing the mother and the father
mm,
arguing, where they are seeing the mother already undermining the man in front of the children. And then the man goes ahead, on a portrait, and says, "Okay, if you're gonna play that game, two can play that game." So he started
mm,
removing things, sort of trying to do things to immobilize the woman.
mm.
But this is kids' play. I mean, I don't know if it was a skit where they're just putting out a camera for TikTok and
Mm,
YouTube's, but I bet there are families that are like that, where the woman, for one reason or the other, decides, no, I'm not going to serve my husband any food because he didn't do this or say that, something of that kind. So I think probably one of the things that I feel this modern day man and woman interaction or marriage setting has been fraught with a lot of divorces and things like those, has been partly the close proximity that they live in. I think an actual sense of a distance is important. And then, two, where the woman has now been empowered to, in a sense, be put in a position where she is competing with the man, where she is consistently undermining the man. If she's a corporate world, the grooming that she has already undergone through having gone through a university education. Then now you're in the corporate sector. Then you come live in your two-bedroom flat apartment where you're so close to one another. There are no boundaries. There's no clear understanding of hierarchy.
Each one has
Uh,
his star.
Everyone has a star. Then you have also the promotion of this thing called partnership.
Mm.
Who calls the shots? Somebody has to call the
And
shots. There
and
has to be
and
a
and,
leader.
and
A leader has
unfortunately,
to be there. But if you have two centers
maybe
of power, man,
unfortunately, maybe you are driving a Nissan Tiida and she's driving Mercedes C18. So,
mm,
my friend, the crap is real. So, so some of us are like people who operate between the cracks in the system,
mm,
whereby you have family telling you when are you going to get married, and you
mm.
respond by giving them a middle finger. You get married yourself. You get married yourself.
Yeah.
I know of an individual. That bridge. Uh, there's a bridge in Mumbai. Someone contemplated driving his car over the bridge because of
What?
yeah, because of home headache. And the only thing prevented him was the family. He has kids. So there we go.
Man, it's that bad that somebody wants to take his life away.
But in fact, during the what do you call it? At the height of COVID, so many marriages went haywire. At
Mm,
that Nyali bridge, there was a jam,
mm-hmm,
and someone was driving with his wife,
mm-hmm,
and he just stopped the car, put the vehicle on park. He walked out, started
mm-hmm,
walking away, and he jumped. So people started making a lot of noise. Mtu ameanguka, mtu. So the wife is coming out. She's also part of the curious onlookers. He's actually calling the husband. Hey, nasikia mtu ameruka. The guy is not picking. So she's
mm,
looking. She goes down. It's the husband who's on.
mm,
At that
mm,
she landed. You see, it's a rocky place.
mm.
So what will make you throw yourself over the bridge? You've left your wife in the car. People didn't want to say, but chances are the woman seated next to him is probably headed to that problem.
Mm,
Another guy came into some, he posted some story that his house was now inhabitable. They had lived
mhm,
for 10 years, I think in Runda,
mhm,
paying 150,000. Things went thick and he had to sort of downgrade.
mhm,
Now imagine they are moving to Langata to a house of 50,000 shillings. In
mhm.
Kenya, a house that is you are paying 50,000 per month, that's a very respectable dwelling.
It is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That is actually that is you can call it from my point, I'll call it high end because that is more than three times my rent.
Mm,
50,000 rent, that is somebody's paycheck somewhere, even
mm,
twice.
mm.
And the wife said, I am not moving there, you'll go there on your own.
She refused.
After decades of very good life, one event is not like they are going to live in a slum, they are going to live in a 50,000 shilling dwelling from 150. And she said, no, impossible. You still
So what
want to get
happened?
married?
So,
The guy was left, he was left hanging there, and we really didn't want to go deep into that story to avoid depression. Just say, we pambana too, I'm sure, sulitongoza. Yeah, I'm sure he'll come up with something. And when a woman from
just
the little
imagine the stress that is gonna put that man.
now
Yes, the man has fallen on hard
from
times.
the
Mm,
little I know about women, because I don't know. In fact, the little that I know about women, I know it unwillingly.
mm,
This is forced knowledge because I don't want to know it, but it has been forced on me through Kuokoto and Kyokoto and what to do. I didn't go looking for this knowledge, but that little I know, the fact that she has the guts to say she's not moving there, chances are she has somewhere to sleep.
100%.
chances are she's
She
doing
has a
bend over.
backup plan. She
She
had
has
it
a
to
bend
win.
over and Kifo Chamende. Chances are she's even doing a private striptease somewhere for a man. They're called private show and getting 30,000 shillings per
It,
1 hour
it,
of wriggling
there
her
was a
bare bottom somewhere.
there was a similar story I think I heard of the same. I think in Amerix,
Hmm,
of a man who also fell on some hard times.
hmm,
Of course, they ended up sort of separating, and the guy just
hmm,
went and began building himself from there.
hmm,
He had some debts. I think
hmm.
that he said at the time actually they ran into 3 million shillings debt, but the guy already knew how to build a business. He knew how to make money.
Hmm.
And once you understand that secret,
Yeah, see, I know
you can always
somebody
you
said,
can always prevail. So the guy went, they break off with the woman. That woman still kept driving a nice car. But of course, she must have been. If she's a corporate woman, she had already had seen a suitor, probably some guy who was earning more than the husband, a director
hmm,
somewhere in an organization.
hmm,
Her lifestyle was not affected.
hmm,
That's what we call what's that term?
hypergamy.
Hypergamy. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, man, if you already have a woman who can't support you at those point in times, yes, there's no wife there. There's nothing. You're on
So
your own.
basically,
Don't even try to try and convince her. If she can't see the reason why you have to move from 150 to a 50,000 house to now rebuild from there onwards, and for her to even give you sort of that mental space and support to now begin figuring your shit out to get yourself out of whatever hole that you're in, then already that's indication that this is not someone you should proceed with, because you'll end up just killing you and your
so
mojo.
that's why
You'd
we
rather go
say
it
that
alone.
the logic of marriage is very difficult. We can't even see it unless it's I'm blind, but I'm not seeing it. So now, what makes this thing uh, so strange? And normally, so when something is really touted so much, I
Mm.
start having some misgiving, like the wedding shows, the
Mm.
anniversaries, and
It's promoted. Yeah.
why are you putting so much effort into
Mm.
showing that everything is okay?
Mm.
Why? What are we hiding? Why are you guys in campaign mode? What are you? Is there something we are missing?
Mm. And very
You,
little is actually spoken of the life once you're in it.
yeah,
Very, very little.
that's why they say on the wedding day, there's a very large group of people around you. In
Mm.
divorce court, man,
You're on your own,
you're on your
standing
own.
solo bono.
Huh? You
You're
are on your
standing all by
own,
yourself. Yeah.
standing on your own. Of course, she'll be there with her people castigating you. You are better off without him. And where are the crowds? I think it's I think it's like a cow which is being taken to a slaughterhouse. People are very happy they are going to get meat, but when it's time for the cow to actually go toe to toe with the knife or with that gun they shoot on the head, it's him, the cow, and the gunman.
Mm.
So it is you and the divorce lawyer. And I think one day we should have our guest here being a marriage divorce lawyer. We
Okay.
look for one. I think we should find one marriage divorce lawyer, a
Yes.
divorce attorney, bring him here live,
Yes.
and tell us if there's any logic in marriage, so that we don't seem to be like people running a funny campaign, a couple of the Who Hurt You Club rambling here
What?
about. Eh? Before somebody tells us, oh, these are two bitter guys, they are just rambling their things. They can't get women, they are dumped and they are broke, so they are talking crap. Let's have a divorce attorney come here, be part of the live session, let him talk. Tell us
Mm.
about the logic, if there's any logic in this thing. Because in most countries with America leading, men are just saying it's crazy. Like that guy, that Andrew Kibe showed, married for over 30 years. One time he gets sick, he
Mm.
recovers, the house has been sold, and the wife has divorced him.
If you actually read the Unplugged Alpha on
Mm.
the statistics with regards to marriages, I mean the most touted statistics, it's now running at 51, 49, 50, 50, almost across the board. I'm saying, be it in Africa, in the US. Of course, there'll be some variations in some
And remember,
countries,
remember
but
those
it
figures.
mm,
Those figures are for the registered marriages.
mhm.
The rest of these Kichochoroni arrangements where you come, you find your
You
house
come
has
to
been
stay.
emptied clean. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what those statistics haven't gone to do yet is dug further to even engage those that are said to be in marriage. The 50% or 51%, depending on which part of this world that you're in. Are you happily married in the union that you have?
Or are you
I think
clinging on for dear life?
that's yes. So many people are literally putting up. Many.
Mm,
I think they found the percentage of those from the book Unplugged Alpha
mm.
is 13%. 13%. So this thing has a success rate of 13%. So that means the majority of all the weddings that we are seeing all around us have a higher chance of failing than succeeding. Take a moment to think about these numbers. These are not numbers we are pulling out of our asses. Now, to some degree, sometimes I do look at the union and I can see the goodness of it. Honestly, the I can see in places where, sort of, if you want to call it partnership or collaboration aspect of a man and wife in being able to do certain things together, you can see that in particularly when it comes to children, also helping them develop in that kind of a household. It's the most recommended to build sort of a wholesome human being. Um, but I think the modern environment that we are now living in, we need to really uh, interrogate if the way that institution is currently designed and has been built and has been influenced by all these other things of modernity, where the woman now is in a sort of a competitive aspect with a man, be it in terms of income acquisition, be it in terms of working, because those are now the influences that have now influenced this institution called marriage. So it has, and I guess maybe the old and dispensation, the reason why it had a higher success rate is uh, because of certain things. But now we're in this modern era, which seems to influence more of a divorce than a co-working together, identifying where, because in many ways sometimes this marriage tends to make a man to be like a second mother in the household, where you're required to always be there with the children also, babysitting them, so you're not encouraged to live fully within your masculine frame as a man, but you're more influenced now to take on other attributes that are not naturally part of the man's character. So I think there's need to interrogate that institution, figure
Yeah,
out
like they'll tell
how to.
you, what do I call it? Somebody used to say, for the sake of peace, you just apologize.
Mm,
Even if
for the sake
even
of,
if even
and
if
then
even if you are
you're
not home. So
exactly.
so the capacity to hold someone accountable is not there.
Mhm.
You point out somebody has made a mistake, it becomes uh, chaos. They go back to their family. So some Like I used to have a live-in girlfriend, and when I used to correct her, she gets moody and say, "Why are you shouting at me?" I'm not shouting. I'm saying this is wrong. It's just wrong. So they don't want that. So yeah, then nobody sides with you. They tell you, no, 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 no. This is a woman should be tender with her, blah blah blah, and we're like,
She's,
so if you are not cognizant to the matrix, 10 years down the line, you'll be like, have you? I've gone to setups where there are a lot of men with women, married men, and
mm.
some of those married guys, I don't know if it's either me who's become very suspicious about everything. They look subdued.
No, that's true. I mean, of course, it's just what you've just said. What are some of the things that culturally now we are being influenced to do? Pedestalize a woman for sure.
Mm,
She is the weaker sex.
mm.
Happy wife, happy
Ah,
life,
they look
happy home.
subdued. They don't want to speak
Uh,
their mind because they don't
they
want to
can't
hurt
speak
somebody.
their mind.
So
So
at some points, I ended up looking like a weird character because I'll just blurt out the truth. And these
yeah,
guys, you like, ah, pana, hiyo lugha si nzuri.
yes, you're already
But
taught to be politically correct and
it's the
to
truth.
self censor yourself. Can you imagine? You're
Mm,
self censoring yourself in your own
mm.
home.
So
You're a prisoner
I
in
have
your
to,
own home.
you have to run your internal vetting mechanisms. Is this statement? But from my point of view, in terms of internal, the only internal vetting I do is this statement true or false.
Mm.
If it's true, blurt it out. If you've got a hairstyle that looks funny, I'm like, "Ay, more. See, your husband akwambie you look weird." But if the husband says he looks weird, it becomes, oh, because I'm not looking beautiful like your girlfriend. Then
Mm.
it becomes something else. So, so somebody says, ah, wacha ninyamaze tu. Then you notice this air of it's like a lion that has been rained on. You know this is a lion. It has potential. It can roar, but the roaring function has been suppressed, and there's weakness, and
I
there's
think it's a lot has to do with that close proximity that was, of course, and we see it. We are influenced by movies and the pop
mm,
culture that is all around us.
mm,
The idea that the man now has to
mm.
support the woman.
Has to be
The
tender
idea,
to her, is the mother of her two
yes,
children,
yes,
and
yes.
blah blah blah. So I noticed the elves of subduing a lot. But
That's
funny enough,
true.
if we are
Uh,
sitting men only, the masculinity is through the roof.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But if it is couples, then me, I'm seated there alone with my funny
Because
head.
you're being told do everything with your woman.
Uh,
When you want to do your run in the evening, do your with your woman. When you want to
So
go for drinks, do with your woman. So when do you spend time with other men where you can just banter, speak
mm,
your mind, so you find those points are now too far and in between. So they are not
mm,
men are not being a man.
mm,
If anything, many of it they are spending more with their women. They are spending it in the household. And it's all part of that close proximity that has been created by the modern society that we live in. And I don't know how best to counter that. That's why you find men, even after they leave work 5 p.m., they have to go to some watering hole somewhere to spend time, at least get that little reprieve of time.
because they
Uh,
know once they enter into that house, it's Royal Rumble. Eh, You are actually entering into a cage with a leopard. Where are you from? Or you are in your car, you are busy deleting messages. Mm-hmm. Futai.
yes,
Mm-hmm. Hey,
stay at
therefore,
home dads.
they are
So you
home
see,
dad. Hey,
let me even
so
put
they are staying at home. Are they doing like remote working or they are looking after children?
is that they have created another mother. So there's already a mother and a wife, but
Huh.
they want the mother two and wife number two through the man. So the man has to lower down that level of aggressiveness.
So
Yes,
he is in the work doing housework.
yes, He's the one changing the diapers. He's the one.
And how did he get married when he didn't have a job? There are so many questions that pop up.
Yeah,
What
in the
happened?
streets, they are constant. Imagine someone asks you, "What do you do for a living?" and you say that you're a stay-at-home dad, and they say that. I bet, Sheriff, you would probably say they say that with some level of pride.
So the question is, before they became stay-at-home dad, were they having jobs or what happened?
Yes, they do have jobs. So you find probably is where you have, of course, the woman earning more than the man. So they sit down because
So
they're
how
said
did
to
you
be
get to the point
partners.
of deciding to get married and you're and okay, yeah, the mathematics is not really making sense.
It's not
When when
mathematical.
when you are not really when you are anti-matrix, some you really question. So how did you bring yourself to start talking to this woman in the language of want to settle with you and whatnot, and she's earning more than you? What how that conversation thread? How did it flow? Who approached who? Were they?
It's anchored.
Were,
It's first anchored on that misconception of love. So love makes you rationalize a number of things that logically don't make sense.
but once you are past
Where you end up
34,
marrying someone who is older than you, where you also end up marrying someone who wants more than you.
but I think once you are past, I think 30. Oh, I think now
Mm.
somebody used to tell me. I wrote the things I read in the Nation newspaper. The society, through the family, will put a lot of pressure on you to be married by 27, 28. Because at
Hmm.
that time, your logic is so suppressed.
Hmm.
And in fact, I think there was a time they tried that with me, and the language they were using was she knows how to cook, she knows how to take care of the house, and she's very beautiful. Fortunately for me, I don't know, for some reason, I was like, that guy Neo of the Matrix, you think something is wrong. And I was
Mm.
like, Napana. It
Your
sounds
conscience,
nice,
your
but
consciousness
something,
was already
hapana,
awakened.
kuna kakitu
Mm,
kako off
mm,
somewhere.
mm, mm,
But those who are unlucky, you're 28, maybe for some reason you managed to Libertica, you had a nice car, a nice job, you're clocking, you're on 250,000 per month. So that money is really carrying you soft. You haven't seen much hardships, and then you have a very continuous supply of beautiful women around you because you're earning well. Then they tell you you can have these ones forever. You can
mm,
pick this one. This one is now yours forever.
mm,
Then you settle in is when that marriage that was made in heaven, the thunder now follows through now.
mhm.
Mm. Now unatandikwa na radi vizuri sana. You become very bitter. You either become a drunkard or a motivational speaker or a beast like Andrew Kibe.
Mm.
So now the biggest problem now is when you are in that state and you do not recognize it.
Yeah, I mean,
You remember some
many.
guy, I don't know his name, who was really saying, I'm happy in this thing. And you are telling, he said he had started their business partners with his wife. So
Mhm.
I'm like, okay. So what was the last time I checked? I will not even call myself a businessman in any way, but my little elementary sub juakali knowledge of business.
Mhm.
See, you have to be equal contributors to the financial upstarting of the business. So you
Mhm.
ask the guy, how much did did the wife contribute? You
Mhm.
ulitoa hii, bibi
Mm.
akatoa. No. I contributed everything, then I
Yes.
gave her a portion. No, that's
Yes.
not a fact that we just said, okay, so we are so deep into the matrix that we can't rescue you. You are
Yeah.
forking out money and then giving out shares to your wife.
Yeah.
I ran out of words.
I remember.
I ran
I
out of
remember that
ammunition.
guy. Yes, I remember that guy, and you
I
could
ran
see
out
even,
of ammo.
and you could also sense a sense of fear in him. Eh?
Hmm.
Did you pick that up even when he was giving submission? Because he also went around. He wasn't one very direct with his
He had
answers.
some bit of conscience of what he was saying.
Yes.
So I just told him, listen, I don't want to engage you so much because this matrix is fun. You can hang around with someone, then you find yourself reasoning like them. Oh, marriage is not so bad. So, man, it is what it is. So
It is what it
I
is.
normally say recognize the matrix. The matrix will come in so many ways. It will sneak upon you the most
It's a
weirdest.
very deep brainwashing and a very
Mm,
we've been socialized, and
mm,
because even when I reflect on my own life,
mm,
reflect on where I am, some of the choices that I have made, and why I took those choices, you realize the influences that led me to those choices.
mm,
And I think many people have those kind of things, particularly,
mm,
and that's why I always come back to that concept of love,
mm,
where you tend to override logic. So you let the emotions that run through you, the idea of I have great chemistry with this person, the idea
mm.
that love will overcome all, uh, and then you
That is
forget the,
dopamine.
the realities. Love is dopamine. The
Even
realities that
this preacher called the late great Miles Monroe said
yeah.
when he was used to do premarital counseling,
Mm.
the guys who divorced are the guys who used to say we are together because of love. Because he
Ah,
used to ask them, why are you together? The couples who gave there are a small select group who gave some logical reason like continuation of lineage and the need to be responsible for someone while that lineage is continuing. In such
mm.
then there's another group who came with, I love him. He was my high school sweetheart. Blah blah blah. We met at a shopping mall. We looked at in each other's eyes, and I knew she was the one. Those ones ended up in divorce in months, months, because you are dealing with lineage. And lineage means, are you going to produce a quality product? Like when it comes to, let's say, breeding animals, as a farmer, there are certain inputs that farmer will do so that the lineage of that cattle, if it's a horse or a breed of a cattle, there are things that have to be strictly have to be adhered to, regardless of the mood, so that you
100%.
have this breed of cattle that produces how many liters per day. You have to do this and this to produce this.
Mm.
So if I want to produce children who are in the business of creating, solving, improving, things like love and what have to be put out of the picture. I have to create a situation whereby they see me creating, solving, and improving, both in outside the house or even in the house.
Mm. It has to be a very
Mm.
calculated, business
Calculated.
driven, logic driven
Yes.
decision. And
Plus, some
then
people,
from there, how do you
what I call
design it?
posturing. You have to posture, so they have to see you doing this.
Mm.
They have to be there when this solution is achieved. They have to be there when there's a failure that occurred to trying something, so they know their success and it positioning.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. That's why those young lions will run along the bigger and see how those animals are taken down.
Yeah.
But if
I
you're not
just I,
doing
I just saw a video of somebody shared of a kid that was
it,
left in a pen that
mm,
had sheep.
mm,
And for some reason, I think when the kid was running around, the kid went to the fence,
mm,
and all the sheep gathered together.
mm,
Then there was the male sheep with the
mm,
horns. It saw the kid,
mm,
and it started pushing the kid. And then it rammed the kid like 3 times against the fence.
mm,
Of course, the person who was sharing it was in light of, don't
mm,
leave kids unattended. together with
mm,
animals. That animal
mm,
acted logically because it saw a being that is different from its fellow animals, and immediately what does that mean? A threat.
mm.
So
You
it
look
had
different.
to.
Who are you? Who
Who
the
are
fuck
you?
are
You're
you?
very different. Are you gonna
Mm,
come kill my family? It had to
mm,
protect its territory.
mm. So you
So
have to protect your masculine friend.
yes, that sheep ended up killing
Mm.
that kid, unfortunately. But in the logical sense of things, it
It was a
acted
sheep. It was a male sheep being a male sheep. It's a rams. They're called rams. A ram
rams
being a ram. Yeah.
rather. Yes, I
Yeah.
was actually looking for that term. It
Mm,
was a ram.
A ram being a ram. So that your frame as a man should be things like your wife shouting at you, things like your wife not cooking food, telling you you're not cooking today, things like your wife locking the gate because you came late and you have to bang and convince, then she sends the house girl to open the gate for you. That is your frame being destroyed in front of the children. If they are male children, those kids are destroyed.
Mm.
Hmm. Those kids are totally destroyed. Hmm. You should
And
create a situation whereby
mm,
when a woman shouts at your kid should look at him and say, are you crazy?
mm,
Are you
because it
mad?
needs immediately to look to the father. Where is the
Hmm.
source of authority coming from?
Hmm.
But now there's no differentiation. We are called
Hmm.
partners. So there are two centers of power, and probably the one that has the backs that is making bank calls the day. But
Actually, the real husband of the lady is the CEO in the corner office.
100%, she's submitting to someone other man who is higher than you.
In fact, I
Like
asked
Agami at his best.
I did ask a friend of mine, married
Mm,
man, ask him
mm,
if maybe your wife is somewhere in the saloon and you call her, listen, come to the house quickly, and she asks why, and you don't tell her, he'll be forced to explain why she has to come back. But if it's her boss, come to my house quickly, she won't ask why.
oh man.
So where is the authority?
And then think of how she will be decked out. She'll have to put all the makeup, put that nice short skirt. So what is she selling, bro? Eh?
Welcome to the matrix.
These are the realities. But
Welcome to the
no
matrix.
modern man wants
Mm,
to contend with that. He's
mm,
saying love. He's saying, no, look at where we live. This is the society. This is, man. There are very few that understand that. Bettertization by 1,000 concessions. As as the guy, the author of the Unplugged Alpha says, Richard Cooper.
mm.
Anyway, I think it's a good time to now close it. Oh man, we've done an hour and 10 minutes.
No rehearsals, no nothing. The
Nothing.
beauty of the male mind.
From create, solve, improve
Proof. Yeah.
through
In fact,
to
some wonderful ideas have been thought up in these sessions. I really value them.
exactly. Man,
So
the
big
man's
up
brain.
to Sharif
Sharif
Mustafa,
Mustafa,
our
thanks
lone
as
wolf
always.
audience. Thank you
Yes.
for taking your time and listening to these two rambling madmen. The so it is what it is. Adios.
Enjoy your weekend.